guys always stepping in, supporting what we do. Really means a lot. I want to thank this building. Wow, like we talked about this in the very beginning when Netflix was becoming real, when this opportunity to date, all that stuff was becoming real, and we talked about where should we do, we talked about LA, we talked about Inuit Dome. This building is spectacular. Like just being here, I don't know if everybody's aware of the technology that's in here and what they bring to the table here, but just wow, and they couldn't have been greater partners, so thank you very much to them. And also I just want to talk about Netflix and the incredible partnership that we have there with them. Ted Sarandos, Greg Peters, Bella Bajaria, Brandon Reed, Gabe Spitzer, they were all here tonight. Their commitment to us as partners, their sort of belief in what WWE is, their understanding of what we are and what we bring to the table, it's already been their commitment to us. It's already been an incredible partnership, and can't look forward to sort of getting into that more and working with them even closer. My understanding, I didn't get a chance to talk to them. They were all here tonight, but I didn't get a chance to talk to them after the event. Nick did. The early numbers are strong and they're very pleased. So that's a good thing. I'm sure we'll get some over the next few days, and we'll get with everybody on that. But look to be very impressive. You heard The Rock say tonight, 17,514 in attendance, breaking an all-time arena gate record for us. We've had a year. We set an attendance record, a gate record in France. We broke that record in Glasgow. We broke that record in Berlin. And tonight we shattered that record. So it's been a great year on a business side for us. To talk about Netflix more, and I mentioned it in the open tonight, there's just, it's just something to be standing out there, and when that red light goes on, you know that there's 283 million subscribers that have the opportunity to tune in and see what you do globally all at once. Not that that's going to happen because of the time zones and the differences, but knowing that they have that opportunity, knowing the next day when they wake up, if they want to watch Raw, they can. That next 24 hours after we air live, the opportunity is incredible, and the fact that in this moment it's PLEs, it's Raw, it's SmackDown, it's NXT in 80% of the globe outside of the US. The opportunity for us and the platform for us, we talked to Talon about it today, just can't stress it enough how this moment in time takes us to that next level. The funny thing about Netflix is in many ways, they're a numbers company, right? So they have data and analytics in the moment. They can see those numbers. WWE has had those numbers for years. There were just people that didn't want to see those numbers and admit they were what they were. So they looked at it as, well, they do those numbers and that's impressive. But it's WWE. It's not really a sport. It's not really entertainment. What is it? We don't know. So they sort of negated that. Netflix gets it. I believe we've been with USA for a long period of time because they understand it. CW has very quickly learned it. The numbers are there. Netflix is a numbers company, and I believe they will run with that, and the sky is the limit. Talk about the show, Rock, incredible, always great to have him here. Roman and Solo, I thought, delivering on an epic storyline that has gone on, and Roman becoming the original tribal chief once again. Had an incredible match. Rhea and Liv, I don't know if I'm Rhea Ripley, if I would be more excited about winning my championship back or getting the rub from Taker. Yeah. In an incredible moment. Travis Scott, who, we talk about celebrities coming in here or outside fans, so to speak, coming in here and loving what we do. Travis Scott is another guy like Bad Bunny that grew up watching this, is like this incredible fan, loves, respects what we do, wants to participate in what we do. I think everybody should expect to see more things from Travis Scott in a big way. As it relates to Travis Scott, I'd like to personally thank Jey Uso for just saying no on the entrance. That could have gone very different, and I'm thankful that it didn't. Drew and Jay tore it up. Punk, Seth just delivered in a way that, you know, in this moment, this Netflix debut sort of took on a life of its own, right? In many ways, like everybody was saying it backstage, it feels like WrestleMania today. It just feels like there's this incredible buzz and just so far beyond an episode of Raw. But when you get to that level to be, you know, what does the main event need to be? What is the thing that is going to be the biggest? They, 3 hours in, got to put on a main event like they should have put on. They had an incredible match, gave an incredible performance, and really I think when I look at it, I think they just nicked the surface of where they can go, those two. This is the beginning. It's the first step, not the last step. It's the beginning of this whole thing with them. So incredible performance by them and an incredible night all the way around. I was just very excited by the atmosphere, the vibe of what was happening here, from the fans all the way through to our talent. So incredible night. The wonderful thing about the Netflix experience is, as big as this felt like in this WrestleMania, well, we get to do it again in 1 week. So and in the meantime, we get to do NXT tomorrow night and SmackDown on Friday. So we've got our work cut out for us. You know, normally when I get to the end of a show like that, I want to say follow that, but I'm talking to myself right now. So follow that, and mocking myself seems a bit strong. So next week, Priest and Finn in a street fight. Sheamus, Ludwig, Gable, and a questionable opponent, which I'll just say you figured it out, right? So it's going to be a great week next week. With that, I'll open it up to questions.
Hey, Chris Van Vliet with Inside Hip Hop.
Hey, Chris, sorry about missing you this morning.
That's okay. Congrats on tonight.
Things got a little crazy.
I'm sure. Congrats on tonight. In terms of what's possible on Netflix, what's the biggest difference between the rundown of the show, the format of the show, here on Netflix versus USA?
Commercial breaks are different. The timing of them is different. I think you see in the format tonight, there's a certain amount of commercial time you have to put in per hour. But then how we adjust that and how we move that around is a little bit, it's more flexible for us here. So I think that's great. I think when you sort of see this in the long run, it's all in how we program it to some degree. You know, there are weeks in the past on regular USA every single week, right, when we've had Raw, where, you know, you see people's comments and they're like, oh, so many commercials this week. Why are there so many commercials? It does the same commercials every single week. We didn't do a good job of getting you in and out of them for whatever reason. Might be planning, but it also might just be something went over and you have to shift everything, right? It's there's a certain amount of stuff you have to get in the show, a certain amount of time to do it within. And if stuff moves, it's not like you can just say, well, we'll just make this longer or not take a commercial break here or there, right? So it takes a lot of coordinating and effort, but I think you'll see a more manageable commercial load, and hopefully for those that aren't having the commercial, the ability for us to continue content within will be meaningful. So.
First row.
Thank you. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Rosie from Deadline. This was such a huge event. How do you follow this up every week to keep everything kind of in this new vibe within Netflix?
You just, I mean, look, you just do, right? There's no, like, we can't do that. There's no, it's going to be too hard. It's going to happen in 7 days, and we'll either follow it up well or we won't. I think the thing that we tried to do tonight, right or wrong, was because this had such like this vibe of like a WrestleMania moment, we almost had to approach it as like almost, I hate saying standalone event, but you almost kind of had to approach it like a standalone event. So there's a lot of things on here that were the, you know, nothing ever ends here, but like sort of the end of something or the blow off of something that sort of this event within itself sort of, you know, there's things on here that a little bit led you to next week and will storyline wise lead us to further things, but it wasn't necessary about that. So I think when we get into next week's show, you'll see us get much more back into episodic and how things lead to the next. As far as how do you follow it, it is the question you ask after every big thing we do here. You know, after every PLE that you do. When you get done WrestleMania and you have 2 nights, if it goes really well, you're like, oh great, we have to figure out how to follow that next year and try to make it better than it was. I never want anything to be like, that was good, but it wasn't as good as the last thing. You always strive for it to be better. So how do we make it better? The staff that's here, the talent that are here, the people that are here, and we all work our ass off to make it better. It's the only way to do it.
Thank you.
Hi, Kylie Marr, Complex.
Hey, Kylie.
Nice to see you again. You mentioned more to come from your partnership with Travis Scott. Anything specific you're willing to reveal, or what has been discussed of ideas when you've talked to him?
Yeah, I think we'll have some announcements on it soon. Travis is one of those wonderfully creative people, and he loves what we do. So when you, at least for me, when I meet with him, whether Zoom or in person, it's like this fountain of ideas. That stuff just keeps coming out, and then we get done and you have this list of stuff, and then it's like, all right, let's get together again next week or whatever, and let's see what we still believe should stay on the list and what we take off. So there's a lot of things that are up in the air, but we you know, just talked about it tonight here. We're gonna, next couple of days, he and I are gonna get together and have a convo about where we wanna go next. He's excited, I'm excited to work with him, we are all excited, Nick's excited to do business with him, and I think he brings, anytime you can work with a musician or an artist that is so big like that, it's a wonderful opportunity, it's challenging. It's a wonderful opportunity, but the best part about it is when they love what we do. So, you know, when Travis comes back to Gorilla after going out there with Jay, and he's like a little kid, and he's like, dude, that's so much cooler than what I do. Like the energy, the excitement level is different, it radiates different, that's way beyond a concert. It's cool to hear, you know, like from somebody that does that. Now, is that partly just because that's what he does and this is different and yeah, you know, maybe, but it's cool to hear. It's cool to see somebody at that level that does what he does, that this, you know, being in an arena like this, what he does every day, the arenas, stadiums, he sells them out all over the globe, one of the biggest artists on the planet. But to hear him feel like this is next level for him is awesome. And he comes to it with that energy and that authenticity that you just, that's the kind of stuff that excites me and makes me want to work with somebody like him, because if he's that excited about it and we're excited about it and we all start to collaborate on the great things that are going to come from it. So we'll be getting with you guys shortly to tell you some cool stuff that's on the way.
Joe Reedy, Associated Press.
Oh, thank you.
Just going back to the cold opening tonight, how long did that process take, you know, with you and Lee trying to come up with something, and how much of it too was to appeal to the long-term wrestling fans, but also this new audience that you're getting on Netflix?
I think when we first started talking about Netflix and this opportunity tonight, and you look at Netflix's audience, it's everybody, right? It's one of the things that I think Netflix does so well is that they have something there that appeals to everybody. They have something for young people, they have something for older folks that, you know, like different products and different things, documentaries. They have everything under the sun on Netflix, and there's something for everybody. So when you have the opportunity to appeal to those people, you want to give them a little bit of everything. And we felt like it was important for us to sort of pay homage to the past, talk about what this business is. Like if you've never watched this, if you grew up and you never saw it, what is it? And you can, we sort of felt like what Kriegel did with that piece was amazing, his writing. The concept of it, when we sat with him to talk about it, and he was talking about what he felt and saw and what he would write, I was like, man, this is, and much like with Travis, that's the stuff that inspires me. So when you sit in a room with people like Lee, when you sit in a room with people like him, and you're just throwing around ideas, it's intoxicating. It's why I love this, right? To sit in a room with people that are really talented and have great minds for this and come up with stuff. So we've been working on it for, months, from concept to it being written to what would we do with it in the arena. And, as we were getting closer to doing it, like everybody I showed that piece to say this is what we're thinking about doing, got emotional about it, people that were inside our business. So if the people inside our business get emotional about it, our fans will get emotional about it because they love the business like we do. But it also resonated with people that sort of are casuals or weren't fans, where they were like, wow, I didn't think about your business in that manner. I sort of didn't think about WWE in that manner, which is this storytelling, like these kind of stories have been being told since the beginning of time, whether with gladiators or other forms of stuff, right? It's storytelling, and it's just kind of grown through the ages to get to where it is. Television gave it a different life, and it's morphed through all this time, but when you really start to look at it and you think of all these years, 40, 50 years of characters, if I was to say name any other genre of entertainment that has created so many iconic characters, and I'm not saying like, whether iconic characters or stars or anything like that resonate through generations, from Bruno to, Backlund to Pedro to there's just all these people that when you mention it to somebody from that generation, they smile. They talk about it. They talk about, oh man, I used to go there with my dad to see Bruno. I used to go there with my grandfather. It's so generational. The characters are so ingrained in the fabric of Americana, but also in other countries. I see it all the time when as we travel the world or working with these other businesses, people that come up to me that are high level at a company now and say, they come over to talk to you and say, man, when I was a kid, I saw you at a soccer stadium in India. My family didn't have a lot of money. I was able to get tickets. I went to this thing, that event changed my life. It was the most impactful thing I ever saw. It's so meaningful. So we're trying to stay true to all that stuff, and at the same time, give the kids that are just finding this something to watch that and be like, oh my God, I have to see this, So I don't know, the reaction seems like we did a good job with it, but that was the intent, is to capture the emotion and let people know we're not hiding what we do. I saw a lot of chatter today from people saying like, oh my God, they said heel and face and shoot and work in one promo. Like, we're not hiding what we do. That's what we do. And to be honest, I think most of the world understands those terms, and sort of now they've almost transcended our business. I see people talking about that in others. He's a heel, this guy, right? It's transcended our business. It's what it is. People know what we are. We talk about it. We're not insulting anybody's intelligence, but we're an art form. Absolutely an art form that captures people's emotions. We don't take ourselves as seriously as most other people take us. So it was all part of trying to capture that and say, if you've watched, watch this, and hopefully we honor what you love. If you've never watched this, watch this. We'll explain to you in it what we are. That was the attempt.
Final question?
Denise Salcedo, Instinct Culture.
It's great. Like, I got all the women. Punk didn't get any, right? So too busy eating donuts. He's gonna be 400 pounds by the time we get done all his contract.
So I do have a two-part question for you. So the first
Only
one
one
is.
part. You can't have.
Okay, no worries. Okay.
Ask
So, well, you had mentioned yourself right now that this felt like a WrestleMania, and obviously a lot of the fans sort of felt that way. So from the creative standpoint, I wanted to get the sort of, did you have any pressures within yourself to be like, all right, I really want to make this show, everyone's expecting so much with Raw's premiere on Netflix. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about the creative pressures. And then my second part to that question was, what benchmarks does WWE want to hit with Netflix to sort of, make sure to deem it a success? Like, what aspirations would you guys say that you would consider it a success?
Great question, both. I think there's always pressure whenever you're doing a big show. I don't know. I feel like sometimes we put just as much pressure on ourselves on a weekly episode, and sometimes they're hard because you end up with a weekly episode that this is like, so you're watching Game of Thrones and there's like the big battle week, and then the following week they got to kind of like reset some stories and give you some narrative, and people are like, that episode sucked, and you have to do that. You have to. It's 52 weeks a year, and you can't give mind-blowing every single week, so you have to. But in those shows, the pressure's almost worse because you don't have the mind-blowing stuff. That's almost easier. You don't have the other stuff. So how do you get that narrative across and try to get people up while still using it to bridge to something else, right? This was interesting from a creative standpoint of when you really break it down, it's an episode of Monday Night Raw. This is an episode just like last week's episode was an episode of Monday Night Raw. And next week's will be. Nothing more, nothing less, right? Platform was different, opportunities different, moment in time different, and an opportunity for us, obviously, to new partner, capture new people, bring back old people, right? The opportunity, massive, but at the end of the day, just an episode of Raw. So what do you want to accomplish with it? You don't want to make it so much so that you blow everything off and you got nothing in the following weeks, but you got to give them enough because the hype, because of our partnership with Netflix, they hyped this up so much. We hyped it up so much that it started to take on a life of its own. From this isn't just an episode of Monday Night Raw, this is something groundbreaking. This is something that changes this entire industry, and both those statements are true. So there's a lot of pressure, and from the point of making it incredible, but not going to a place where you paint yourself into a corner, or that's the tricky part. I think we did a good job with it tonight. I'll tell you as the weeks go on, but there's always pressure. One of our top stars tonight said to me, like, holy shit, I'm nervous today. Like, I'm just so nervous. Like, I haven't been this nervous in a long time. I was like, and? Like, that's good. If you're not nervous, you don't care anymore. And if you don't care anymore, like, let's have a talk. Because maybe it's time to move on or something. You know what I mean? Like, that pressure, that's what we live for. It's what we do this for. It's that pressure to put on something that people enjoy and is spectacular. And believe me, when it doesn't hit, nobody puts more, as disappointed as everybody else is, no one's more disappointed than we are, right? It's the passion to do it. As far as what will we see as a success, I've been told the Netflix numbers, I've been told the metrics a little bit to some degree, probably 5 different times. I still don't get it. Like, I'm still like, okay, so what matters here, what matters there? It's a global product. So that one's important to you, this one's not as important. Like, there's a lot of factors to this. For right now, I think the easiest thing for me to say to everybody in this room is, I will be happy if they are happy, right? Everything that I've heard from Nick, from them today, is they are thrilled. That's good for me. Once we see where they're happy, and this is, great, exceeds our expectations or whatever that was, and we get a consistent area of that, now I'll be able to say like, okay, so I know what they're looking for, I know where they're looking for it, I know how. Now I'll set, myself, Nick, Lee, will all set goals to this is where we want to go to now. Because they're happy here, we want to blow their minds here. And that will be the goal. But I think we have to, this is the first time on this with a live, weekly, episodic, on a streaming platform like this, you know? I don't know that, I think they have a feeling like here's what we have to get to be successful, but I think there's a little bit of leeway in that. So I'm anxious to hear their point of view on it and work close with them on where they want us to be and where we want to get to. So,
Thank you.
thank you. And one more?
One more, let's do one more. On a question.
Don't make me regret it.
No pressure.
Samuel Leggett here.
Okay, try another option.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, this guy with the microphone over there.
Hi, Hunter. Fernando Ramirez of the Sporting Tribune.
Sure.
Months ago, you came up with this idea. Did it live up to expectations? The show, the product, and everything. Did it live up to what you had hoped, or did it exceed expectations?
Today?
Yes.
It's funny your expectations of things when you create them over time change. Right when you first lay it out, you first get to a place where you think, well, this is really good and this is amazing. And then over time, you're like, is that good enough? You start sort of shifting. I felt like watching it tonight, and there was a lot of things going on. I felt like watching it tonight, though, for me, and while it's hard because we're doing a million things while the show is happening, there's a part of me that's trying to watch it like just a fan. I really enjoyed the show. I thought it delivered on a lot of things. I thought it was a bit of nostalgia. There was a bit of, you had The Rock, you had Cena, you had Taker, even Hogan, like you had all these things that whether you liked, didn't like, nostalgia, past, all that stuff, you had a lot of fresh and new, you had a lot of big storylines and a lot of big matches that delivered in a spectacular environment with a crazy loud crowd in a sold out place in a building that looked spectacular and had a lot of tech in it and everything else. I felt like it delivered. I was very happy with it. I was really happy with our talent. And I don't mean just the people that performed here tonight, I mean everybody, because they all participated to get us here. And there's a really cool vibe happening in our locker room where it's like everybody's just here to make the product great right now. And it's not, well, I don't see what that does for me, or, it's let's make this product great. Let's make this company go, and we'll all participate in that. So, yeah, I was happy with it. I hope everybody else was, and I hope it was a great show for them. And I look forward to doing it again next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Netflix is, like I said, going to be a wonderful partner for us, and it'll be fun to learn along the way, which is part of what we do. There's a lot of new tech that we tried in this building tonight. We had wire cameras, and like there's a little drone in there zipping around, and a lot of different camera angles and things that we tried differently tonight. Some worked, some we saw in our feed, and we're like, if that doesn't work, let's not use that tonight. Let's not show that. But that's what this process is. So, we're having fun learning and trying new things and experimenting with stuff. Some will work, some won't. But the stuff that works, we'll keep. And it's, all for us is all of this, everything we're doing, the hours of work, the blood, sweat, and tears from the talent. All of this is for our fans. So we're going to keep doing what we do and making it better and better, hopefully, for everybody. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.